Hey guys, I am back. I have questions from you that you asked at the end of yesterday. Um, and I can't answer all of them. I can't answer all of them well in the time that I have, but I'm going to try to give you something to work with today. So, first off, some of you guys I didn't answer because you wrote maybe food or something that I wasn't quite sure what you were asking. And so, if you still need help with something, I'll be back tomorrow and we can work on it together. But for those of you who did ask a question, I don't want you to be stuck when you have all this time to work and to get your writing done. So I'm going to try to answer everybody's question. When I answer your question, you have got to be listening because this was your question. When I'm not answering your question, listen anyway, because everything I'm saying is good writing advice and can be helpful to you. All right, this is going to be fast. Lauren, you said I get stuck on finding evidence in my book that I'm doing my essay on. I would say that's probably because you're reading a book. You're looking at a whole book. That makes it very hard. In the future, make sure you're tracking with sticky notes frequently the evidence you think you might need. It's not easy, but it's a good habit to get into. For the one that you're doing, work with your partner and go back to those scenes or those parts that really stood out to you as the most important, or the scenes that stuck in your memory, because chances are there'll be something in those scenes that stuck with you that will be important. Kelly, you also said that finding evidence, the right evidence, was really challenging. So, same advice on one hand, look for those points that stood out to you. Look for the times when something seemed important, and then comb through those carefully to find evidence that works. If you can elaborate on it and explain it, then you've got good evidence. If you can't elaborate on it, you need to keep looking. Julian, you asked about endings, and I'm going to put that one aside and answer it at the end because the ending is what you guys are working on today, so I want to talk about that a little bit at the end. Daniela, you said examples was something you wanted help on, and so I would say that for literary essays, examples fit in with the evidence. Rather than talking about an example of something happening, you're just picking out the literary evidence, and that's an example of what you were saying. Anthony, you wanted help with elaboration. I gave you some ideas in my last video, and I'd love to hear what you're still working on or stuck on. But I would say right now, go back to those mentor texts that you have. Go back to the sentence stems that were in the notes that I gave you yesterday. What did I say? What did I start with that you could borrow? Could you define terms? Could you look for author's craft and how that relates to the theme? And also push yourself to write more than one sentence, because it's easy to just say, this shows the theme because, and fill in the blank. But to really elaborate, you're going to want to build on that with more than one sentence. Somebody who didn't write a name said they wanted help on introductions. I'm not going to talk about that too much now because I'm going to talk about conclusions. And hopefully what I say about conclusions, you can kind of apply that to your introduction, and I hope that will help. I would remind you that introduction, it's really important to get your theme across, the thing you think is the theme, and then you might just want to kind of preview what you're going to be doing in the rest of your writing. And also, we really want to use something that's going to draw our reader in or hook them, and that part might be talking about the issue more generally, the issue that you see happening in your story. Kimberly asked, I need help on getting readers hooked, along with what the previous person said, and to make it more interesting. Kimberly, I love this question because sometimes when we're writing literary essays, we let it be boring. And we say, this is boring, I'm going to just finish it. It shouldn't have to be boring, because literary essays are about the themes that matter most in the world, the stories that make us think, and it should be from the heart. So I would say that what you can do is not put yourself in the box of saying, okay, I need to write one piece of evidence and I need to write one sentence of elaboration and then I need to... Don't follow that formula so religiously, but say, okay, what else can I say about this evidence? How can I make connections or make my readers imagine the scene? And give yourself a little bit of freedom, because your creative writing, all of you guys, your creative writing is so strong. You need to be free to bring some of that voice into your literary writing as well. Juan asked a fantastic question. I need help on how to start every paragraph. So Juan, every paragraph, whether you're writing a story and transitioning between time or people talking, Or if you're writing an essay and you're transitioning between the big ideas, it needs to start with some kind of transition to help your readers follow. And in an essay like this, I would think about the transitions as, well, what is this paragraph mostly about? So when I was writing, I got evidence from the beginning, the middle, and the end. And that means that my transitions would probably show that. I might say, in the beginning, we see blah, 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 and I'd go into my evidence. In the middle, blah, blah, blah. If you're looking more at characters and how characters show the theme, you might say, one example of this is so-and-so who does da-da-da. But think about what's your paragraph really about and how can you kind of sneak that in as you're getting started. And then Jasmine asked, I need help finding my theme topic. I think that's what you said. That was the second one on your list, so I assumed that was what you wanted help on. But I think you're really good at that, and I think that what I've seen from all of you guys as a whole is that that's a strength. People have been finding really excellent theme topics and not just settling on one, but finding multiple and finding the ones that are really at the heart of the story. So I just wanted to remind you guys that you do that fabulously. So last but not least, I'd quickly like to talk about what goes in a conclusion. And today you guys should all be writing your conclusions. If you're not there, get yourself there now. Conclusions can be the most powerful part and the most interesting for your readers. Kimberly, I know that was something you asked. And the most interesting for you, because the conclusion is where you are free to explore and write about how that theme that you found important enough to depict as the theme of the text is relevant to real life. So when you start a conclusion, you want to restate what you think the theme is and remind your readers what all of this has been about. And you also want to remind your readers your main points from your literary essay. You could see it here, here, and here is kind of the way I would do that. Like you could see it with this character, and this character. Or you could see it in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end. But then that's not very much. That's a sentence or two. And then you have to open it up to say, how does this relate to something that's going on in my life? Or something that could be going on in my reader's life? Or something that is just part of modern society? So ways that you could do that and ways I would encourage you guys to do that, pay attention to this part. In your conclusion, you guys can ask questions like, what do you think about this? What would you do if this? To get your readers thinking. You could propose a situation and put your character in that situation, or your reader. Like, imagine if you were in a world where blank, blank, blank. How would you react? And the last thing you can do is relate it to a current event. So for those of you guys who are reading books that are really about segregation, racism, or about growing up and how we mature as we grow up, think about what kind of current events or things in our real world could you relate those things to. So today you guys have a conclusion to write. If you haven't finished your other paragraphs, you have those to write. I expect to see finished essays tomorrow when I come back, so make sure that happens. I'm so proud of you guys for your hard work and your perseverance. You guys are fantastic. Please work hard today. Be good. And remember, if you have questions, ask the people around you. Because in that class, between you guys, you have such an immense amount of knowledge and strength. So be good. Work hard. Have a great day.